So in this video, I want to talk about the online discourse that takes place after women share their dating standards on the internet. And before we get into that, just an FYI, as previously mentioned, I am reviving my second channel, and no, the content over there won't be anything like it was before. It's not a femininity channel. I have been there and done that. My second channel will be for all of my universal non-race related content for women, and I will be uploading over there soon. I also just released a new video for Neptunian members and patrons for this channel. So if you're interested in anything I just mentioned, all of the links are in the description box. Now, back to the video. So there are two clips that inspired this topic. The first was a TikToker who went viral for saying that she didn't accept coffee dates. And the other is a clip from a podcast where a woman was being told that she needed to lose weight to attract the men that she wanted. And I'm not going to play those videos, but I will link them in the description box. I more so want to talk about the responses. So the main response we see over and over again when women, and especially Black women or women of color, express their dating preferences online is usually about the woman's looks and whether or not she deserves what she is asking for in a man. Is she pretty enough? Is she thin enough? Is she young enough? And of course, all of those things matter when it comes to dating, especially if you're a woman who wants a high earning man. The prettier a woman is, the thinner she is, the younger she is, the more options she has in men, generally speaking. And for men, the more money he has, the more attractive he is, the taller he is, the more options he has in women, generally speaking. I don't think any of this can be argued. But a misconception and response I keep seeing online is the idea that it's only Black women or unattractive women or fat women saying that they don't do coffee dates or don't do broke men. And that is actually false. Ebony K. Williams went viral for saying she wouldn't date a bus driver, and she's considered to be attractive by most people. I also remember a while back when Saweetie went viral for saying that if a man can't get you a Birkin, leave him alone or something like that. Cardi B said broke boys don't deserve sex, and there are plenty of other non-Black entertainers that talk about their refusal to date broke or cheap men. There's also many non-Black women on TikTok saying that they won't accept coffee dates as well. So it's definitely not just Black women. But here's what I want to say to Black women who are listening. It will always be the Black woman that goes viral for saying that she doesn't do coffee dates or saying that she does not date broke men, because many people don't feel like we deserve expensive dates. They don't feel like we deserve high earning men. And so when we say that, they want to humble us. This is exactly what happened with the Black woman on Kevin Samuel's show who went viral for saying she wanted a man making $100K a year because that is what she made. There was a bunch of talk online about how she was average at best and wasn't pretty enough to ask for what she wanted. And I've said before that I think women of all races should know how they are perceived physically in the eyes of men and other people, or know where they rank, so to speak, so they won't be delusional about the men that they can attract. But I will also say that every time I've been out to a high-end restaurant or in an upscale environment, I see women and men of all levels of attractiveness. And I've traveled to a lot of different places. So this is in big cities and small cities. The men there don't all have supermodels on their arms. Not all of them are super handsome and attractive. And just in general, a woman doesn't have to be a perfect 10 to get more than coffee on a first date or to get a man to take you to a high-end restaurant. It's one meal, and it's really not that serious. And it's ridiculous to me that there is always this much outrage about women not wanting coffee on a first date. But this is why I keep telling women, and especially Black women, stop announcing your dating standards and arguing with people online about your dating preferences unless you want to get dragged. Women are always going to get a different reaction when we share our dating preferences versus when men do it. And what I've observed online over the years is that financially average and below average men get way less scrutiny when announcing their preferences online versus when the women announce their dating preferences. Because think about it. For the most part, the Red Pill movement, the Passport Bros, all these other, movements online, MGTOW, they are a bunch of men who can't get the women they want either because they don't have enough money or because they aren't attractive enough. Yet they are still demanding women who are are fit, feminine, and friendly, submissive, willing to work, go half on the bills, etc., etc. And you have women going on their podcasts, making videos, acquiescing to these men, or trying to instruct other women on how to be perfect for them. There is no opposite version of that for women. When a woman shares her dating preferences, we get heavily attacked by both genders. The men, on the other hand, usually get attacked by mostly women, and they generally stay on code with one another when they announce their preferences, regardless of if they're average or below average financially or physically. Men tend to stick together when it comes to stuff like that, but the reason why other women get triggered and join in on the attacks with men against other women is because we are highly competitive with each other when it comes to men, and other women will try to get you to settle for as much as they did or less than they did in a relationship. Or if they're in the market looking for a high earning man, they're going to try and convince you to settle so they'll have more options for themselves, because we all know that there's not enough high earning men to go around for every woman. So there's that on top of the response you're going to get from triggered men who are cheap, broke, and don't think black women deserve expensive dates. Because the woman who went viral for saying she didn't do coffee dates, she said in a follow-up video that she got attacked mostly by American black men, saying that her standards were too high and that she was too ugly and too dark to not accept a coffee date. And I think that's the problem. Black women, and especially dark-skinned women, are catching on and realizing that a lot of black men especially see us as the cheap dates. They see us as the women to fall back on when they don't have enough money to attract their preferences. And because many black women are no longer accepting being tolerated or settled for by these men, or they're like, hey, I'd rather be alone, the men are upset about that. And some of the women are too, because they're looking at you like, I would accept that. How dare you not accept that? And the reality is that most black women are very reasonable when it comes to dating. Most of us do not require super expensive dates, and the way that hordes of black women always attack other black women who don't want cheap, low-effort dates is proof that most of us don't require expensive first dates. It's proof that most of us aren't even looking for high-earning men. And even if a black woman doesn't necessarily want coffee on the first date, they usually just want something nice and out of the ordinary. And we've already gone over that in another live stream when that unacceptable first date list went viral after the whole Cheesecake Factory skit. But black women generally aren't known for having high dating standards, so people are still getting used to that. But the best way to express that you have high dating standards, ladies, is just to have them and say no to whatever is below your standard. Getting on social media to announce it, that isn't going to do you any favors, especially in this horrible economy. A lot of men are broke, and most of the men online who are mad and raging out in the comment section are those men. Them and their girlfriends, wives, and significant others who settled for them. So you're just not going to get anywhere announcing your dating preferences online. And you're not going to get any honesty from these people either. I heard one response from a woman who said, only the women who aren't used to anything want expensive dates. And it makes me wonder how many of these women are actually around high earning people, because the women who are used to nice things are the main women who expect nice things from men. The friends that I have who come from money and who grew up being spoiled by their fathers, even if they aren't necessarily rich, are some of the main women with high dating standards. People usually date within their class, so it doesn't even make sense to say, oh, well, if a woman can afford her own meal from Ruth Chris, she won't want a man to take her there. No, that's exactly why she would want a man to take her there, because on average, those kind of women want a man that can give her just as much as she can give herself or more. Or they have a father who taught her, if he can't take care of you as good as I do, then don't date him, don't be with him. It's usually the women who are not used to nice things who accept the bare minimum. On average, that's how it goes. So when women say things like, oh, you don't accept coffee dates because you aren't used to nice things, those women are either uninformed or they're just lying to other women about what high earning women expect from men on average, or they're trying to convince other women to accept less than they do to make themselves feel better than that woman. Now, of course, they're not going to say that, but that is usually what's happening. A lot of women are covert competitors with other women, and this is one of the ways that they compete. So ladies, and especially black women, you need to recognize game when you see it. I also heard a woman say, well, the attractive women with money are the main ones who accept coffee dates. And she's basically saying that the more conventionally attractive women accept less on average, but we don't actually see the evidence of that. We see exceptionally attractive women accepting and requiring a lot more from men than coffee. Now, it's not to say that they don't ever accept coffee dates in a relationship. Most couples aren't going to Ruth Chris or Fogo de Chao or Capital Grille every time they go out to eat. That's a given. We understand that. But to pretend that exceptionally attractive, especially attractive women who are hypergamous, to pretend that they have low standards in general is just false. Then I heard a woman say that men ask for coffee dates to make sure they aren't being catfished. And that's another thing that was kind of odd to me, because when I was on the dating apps, I always FaceTimed the guy I was talking to before meeting him. That's part of my vetting process. I wanted to see his surroundings when he said he was at home. I wanted to see his body. I wanted to see him in real time. So I'm just confused how people are still getting catfished in 2024 when there's FaceTime, there's Skype, WhatsApp, Zoom, and all kinds of other video apps where you can see who you're talking to in real time before meeting. And if they keep refusing to video chat or they're always too busy, then just assume that they're hiding something and move on. So when I hear things like, oh, he's scared of being catfished and that's why they're only offering coffee dates, it makes me think that people aren't vetting properly, and it makes me think that women are just bullshitting other women. Like, y'all are just lying at this point, and it's just, y'all are just saying anything. And then there's oh, I'm married and I accepted a coffee date from my husband, when we don't know anything about that woman's marriage or what kind of husband she got. And look, it's not to say that all married women who accept a coffee date on the first date are with bad men, but just writing in the comment section, oh, I'm married and I accepted a coffee date on the first date, that's not enough information. And that's something else that other women need to realize, that single women aren't deifying and glamorizing marriage anymore. And really, it's y'all fault, because you get online and complain about your husbands and the men that you're dealing with. The girls are in their decentering men era. So it's not just about the marriage anymore. We want to know what the quality of the marriage is. Many women, especially intelligent, smart, successful women, we're no longer settling just to get a ring. So just telling us, oh, I'm married and I accepted coffee on the first date, that's not going to convince women who are intelligent and understand the realities that come with marriage and sharing their life with a man. But ladies, those are the reactions you're going to get when you announce your dating standards online. And something else that I've learned over the years is that the dating and hypergamy topic is a very classed conversation that really only a minority of women and people can relate to or have access to anyway, especially in this economy. So it's best to move in silence, because you will always get backlash, and I've learned that the hard way. And on one hand, I believe that women and black women should be able to do what the men do and just arrogantly share their preferences online regardless of how they look or how much they weigh. But on the other hand, I don't believe that women should be willingly subjecting themselves to the abuse and the attacks that follow when they announce their preferences. And I think to protect your peace of mind and your livelihood, you should just keep your dating preferences to yourself. Because at this point, I don't see how these women are benefiting from sharing their dating preferences online. And I don't know, maybe they're going on these podcasts and making these announcements for the purposes of going viral and getting attention, even if it's negative attention. So maybe that's what they want. But when I saw that lady crying on the podcast after that man told her she was too fat, and when the black woman on TikTok responded saying how she was attacked by black men, and even when that lady went on the Kevin Samuels show, when you see how these women respond, they're usually shocked, and you can tell they aren't really expecting that reaction. Then the next thing you know, they're hiring lawyers to try to get these videos that they agreed to go on taken down, or they're removing their own videos of themselves announcing their preferences because they got attacked so much. And it's because people cannot handle when women, and especially black women, have high dating standards. So if you are a black woman planning to share your high dating standards online, be prepared for a visceral reaction from both men and women, and be prepared to go viral. It may not happen, but there's a chance that it will. And this is why I think self-awareness and self-worth, and also knowing how you are perceived physically as a woman, is very important, because it will prepare you for the kind of responses you're going to get if and when you say certain things online. And if you're smart, that self-awareness may stop you from doing so. If the dark-skinned black woman who went on Kevin Samuels' show knew how she was perceived physically by most black men and she had high self-esteem, she would have never gone on his show. If the mixed woman who went on that podcast knew how most people perceived her as a fat woman in society and she had more dignity, she would have never gone on that podcast and walked into that conversation. And by the way, as I was watching that podcast episode, I came to the conclusion that that woman was probably used to skating by on her light skin and hair alone, especially in the black community. But for many high value men, the skin tone and the complexion just isn't enough. It sometimes isn't even enough with men who are lower value, because the guy on the podcast said right on the show to the woman that he's sure men are attracted to her because of her light skin and long hair, but she just needs to get in the gym and lose weight so she can be more attractive to the men that she wants. And by the way, him saying that basically proved everything I've been saying about colorless black men for the last 9 years. But regardless of that, the advice was accurate, but I still think she should have more self-respect and pride not to be receiving that kind of advice from a man on a nigga podcast. Like, the opinions of these men should not hold so much weight. And to me, this is where women go wrong. We give the wrong men too much power and validation. And this is why they feel so entitled when it comes to women. And again, the average man is not going to allow a woman that he perceives to be below average looking tell him that he's too broke to get a woman, even if it's true. So in knowing that, ladies, it's confusing to me why women are still going on these broke nigga podcasts and opening themselves up to public humiliation and in some cases verbal abuse by these red pill men. Like, even if some of what they're saying is true, you as a woman should have way too much pride to put yourself in that situation. And I just don't know how many more women have to be embarrassed and humiliated before y'all realize that it's time to move in silence. It's time to stop trying to negotiate with these men. Men have already gotten the memo, ladies. They feel the shift of women, and especially black women, raising our standards and refusing to settle. We don't have to say anything else, and we damn sure shouldn't still be trying to negotiate and debate with them about their preferences and standards, because they aren't trying to negotiate with us. They want what they want, and they aren't willing to change that or negotiate with you about it. That's why they're either trying to humble you on these podcasts and convince you to be what they want, or they're talking about leaving the country to get women that they want. They aren't trying to make any adjustments for you. They want what they want, and women need to have the same attitude. If you don't accept coffee dates, then don't accept coffee dates, period. Arguing with people online about why that is, especially arguing with men who don't fit the bill or women who require less, is pointless. And it could also deter some of those same high earning men that you're actually looking to date you. So you want to keep that in mind as well. It's only going to make your life harder. So I just wanted to remind you, ladies, that now is the time to move in silence, protect your privacy and peace of mind. So that is all I have on this. Let me know what you think about this topic down in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch up with you in the next video.